Well, good afternoon, this is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant afternoon, and what a nice day. It's one of those, really early spring days when everything just seems to hang. It's not hot, but it's pretty mild, and you can sort of feel that the grip of winter is finally leaving us, so we have some little signs of joy coming our way. So, as I told you, I broke a bone in the back of my hand, and here is the offending handle. That spun around so quick. This is a crank on my crossbow to pull the string back, and it let go, and I got caught on the back of the hand just once with this handle, and boy oh boy did it sting. And it makes you realize how vulnerable you are when you live alone. And of course, thankful for the small local hospital here that let me in and took an x-ray. And again, you realize these small things we take for granted. If I hadn't been able to get an x-ray, I would never have known that bone was broken, although I might have finally figured it out. But I thought it was dislocated, so I may have tried to relocate that knuckle by myself. If I couldn't get anywhere, if I had no help or no doctor to go to. And so, as much as we hate to admit it, boy oh boy, some of this technological stuff is a great advancement in diagnostics. And so, anyway, it was a good trip, and I'm glad I got the cast on. Now, of course, I have to wait until next Tuesday. The doctor's not in his office till next Tuesday, and so that will be a week, 7 days. Healing is no doubt started, so I'm hoping that we don't have to re-break, and that's why I'm being very, very careful. I'm just relaxing this hand and letting the natural healing do its thing. And talking about healing, cheers. This is maple sap. Delicious. I make tea with maple sap this time of year, and I just drink it neat as a kind of an internal tonic, and it just sort of helps to get things moving in the springtime, because we've all been kind of sluggish. We haven't been quite as active as we might have been, and so the Indians use this every year. It is absolutely unbelievable. I swear by it, and it is very pleasant tasting. Now, one of the things I have been hearing that people have been moving away from, and I've been doing the same, is I purchased a little old-fashioned cell phone, not a smartphone, just a regular talk and text. Has a camera in it, which is handy dandy, but I'm finding that I'm just using my smartphone less and less and less, and now that I've got this hooked up, I will be ditching my smartphone and running off this little handheld phone. It's a Nokia. It was $60. $50 a month for talk and text with Kudu, and SIM card. It cost me $21 for the SIM card or something, and the hookup. So no, I'm pretty pleased. It works just fine. It does exactly what I want it to do. And who the heck needs a smartphone? I get my email off my desktop. I really don't do a lot on my phone. I don't watch videos on my phone. All of the data that I have is an absolute waste of money, and so my cell phone, my smartphone stays at home all the time now, because I just do not want to be tracked. I do not want to be caught up in digital ID, which is coming next, and if I can avoid that by not having a smartphone, then that is what I'm going to do. This digital ID, along with digital central bank digital currencies, are going to be an enormous trap, because all of this is leading to basically programmable services, programmable access, and programmable money. And what that actually means is that if you don't score on a particular checklist, if you click the wrong Facebook page, or if you donated to the wrong organization, guess what? The interest on your loan went from 0% to 1.5%. If you belong to the right group, it might go down to 0.5%. Who knows? But there will be all kinds of services that you will be allowed or denied access to, whether it be travel, whether it be food, whether it be necessities of life. It doesn't matter. It will be able to shut you down in a New York second. And this is why we must never be tempted I say this over and over again, just like James Corbett. He just had a recent video about surveillance and the censorship online, and yeah, it needs to be put out there. These are deadly traps, and if we fall into that trap, boy oh boy, there will be no return. There will be no getting out of that. So that was the reason for that move, and I would recommend for $60, maybe 100, 120 all told. Boy oh boy, I would recommend that to anybody to get yourself off your smartphone addiction. Use a desktop, when you get home. Luckily for me, I'm that generation that are used to that. The phone used to be attached to the wall, and once you left the house, the best you could have was an answering machine. So, not such a big deal for me to go back to that kind of situation. Other than that, spring is on the way, and if this could have happened at any time of year, this is the time of year to have it happen, because I don't really, it's a pain, don't get me wrong, it's unbelievably inconvenient trying to use your left hand for everything, but a lot of my early prep work is done on the property here, so there's frost in the ground, there's not a lot I can do. I can manage the logs for the furnace with one hand, and we're not likely to get snowed in as we have been over the winter time. If this happened in December, boy, I would have been in real trouble trying to manage this place with one hand. And of course I'll be going out sometime over this weekend, getting my onion sets, getting my seed potatoes and that kind of stuff, and of course I'm not helpless and hopeless, I got the other hand, so I'll be starting my seedlings probably in the next couple of weeks. So I am going to take a nice little vacation. As I said earlier, I'm going to do a few videos, some interesting topics coming up, and we are moving so quickly. I mean, can you all believe, it was just a month ago, 3 weeks ago, that the war in Ukraine started with Russia, and all of a sudden, you don't hear anything on the television or the radio of COVID or all of the past 2 years. Everything is supposedly back to normal. The protests seem to have all gone away, and of course they are ongoing. There are protests still taking place in Ottawa and other places around Canada, but of course we're not hearing about any of them on the news because we're into full-scale censorship these days. And again, that is a very worrying situation. And I may just link the video I watched of James Corbett below, because he raises some very interesting points that, you just won't get cancelled in the new age of censorship. They will just mislead you, and so you will go to, as he puts up, an old James Corbett site. I don't know who put it up, comes out of somewhere in Spain, and the latest videos from 6 months ago, and so you won't actually disappear, but you'll be just made to be seem meaningless. Of course, the comments, there's trolls on there all the time, and James Corbett cannot get onto his own channel because it's not his channel. So this is the kind of censorship, and part of the things he gets into is Google. When you get a search back from Google and there's all of these choices to pick from and to look into, Google thinks of that as a bug. They think you should only get one answer and it should be the correct answer. So you won't even get the information that will get you to ask the question why you should want to look into things more thoroughly. And as Margaret Mead famously said, the problem occurs not when people have forgotten, but when they have forgotten what they have forgotten. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are. That's the age we're moving into. And if this technocracy moves forward, we will have forgotten. I think we already have forgotten what we have forgotten. This is one of my regular visitors at the bird table. Absolutely beautiful. Between him and the blue jays, I'll tell you. Oh, and they got some evening grosbeaks coming in too, as well, as we've warmed up a little bit. There you go, there's one of the sap buckets there. It's dripping away merrily today. It's above zero, about 5 or 6 degrees, and of course we went down below zero last night. which is exactly the combination you need to be able to collect maple syrup, or maple sap, sorry. Now I just drink it as a tonic. But yeah, this is the project that's come to the standstill. I'll tell you, it's one-handed makes handling a chainsaw very, very difficult. But like I say, I can take care of this bit by bit. And of course, as you can see, there is still lots of snow in the bush. I suspect it'll be gone by the end of next week, but she's still pretty icy and slippery, and no doubt we're going to go through a real boggy patch. The old driveway is holding up. Really pleased about that. It's one of those times of year that's pretty difficult, you know, when that frost is coming out and you've got like 2 inches of completely waterlogged muck on top of the ice. Yeah, it can get pretty messy, and so I'm trying to stay off the driveway as much as possible, let that sun get at it, and let the water run off. Okay, so that's about it from me. It's a bit of a catch-up there on what's going on here on the old homestead. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant afternoon, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.